Bonjour les amis, bienvenue de l'amour du Wiki de Pushkar. Hello friends, welcome to the world of Pushkar's Wiki. Today's topic is very interesting and informative. Over 200 years ago, a boy from a small island called Corsica near Germany grew up to shake the world. His name was Napoleon Bonaparte. He wasn't born a king, he wasn't born rich, but he had something far more powerful: ambition, intelligence, and a daring spirit. As a young soldier, he rose through the French army like lightning, winning battles that seemed impossible. By his 30s, he was not just a general, he had crowned himself Emperor of France. Napoleon changed laws, built an empire, and rewrote the map of Europe. Armies feared him, allies admired him, and even his enemies respected his genius. But his hunger for power led him to too many wars, and at last the same Europe he conquered turned against him. He exiled to a lonely island and died far from the glory he once commanded. Even today, Napoleon is remembered not just as a conqueror, but as a symbol of how one determined person can rise from nothing and change the course of history. Napoleon was born on August 15, 1769, on the island of Corsica, just months after France claimed it from Genoa. He was born into a modest noble family, the Bonapartes, and from a young age showed a fierce intellect and a burning drive. At the age of 9, he was sent to mainland France for schooling. Though mocked for his accent and Corsican roots, Napoleon excelled, especially in mathematics and military studies. By 1785, at just 16, he became a commissioned artillery officer, entering a France simmering with revolution. Rise of Napoleon Bonaparte. The French Revolution changed everything. The old order of kings, nobles, and strict traditions were falling apart. In its place, new ideas and new leaders began to rise. Among them was a young and ambitious officer that was Napoleon Bonaparte. I would suggest please go through my video French Revolution for more details so it will be easier for you to understand the impact in France. In 1793, the city of Toulon had been taken by royalists, people who still supported the king and their British allies. France needed to win it back. His use of artillery forced the British and royalists to retreat. The city was recaptured and Napoleon's name became known among French leaders. Revolutionary leaders noticed his talent and bravery. He was only 24 years old, but he was promoted to the rank of general. For someone so young, this was extraordinary. Just 3 years later, in 1796, Napoleon was given command of the French army of Italy. France was at war with powerful enemies, Austria, Sardinia, and others, and the odds were against them. Napoleon led daring campaigns. He moved quickly, struck where enemies least expected, and won victory after victory. Europe was stunned. A new military star had risen. In the late 18th century, Europe was in turmoil. Revolutionary France faced enemies on all the sides. Napoleon revolutionized warfare. He understood that battles weren't just about numbers, they were about speed, surprise, and flexibility. Instead of moving his army as slow as one massive block, he divided into corps, semi-independent units. Each corps would march, fight, and survive on its own, but together they could strike from multiple directions at once. This allowed Napoleon to move faster, confuse his enemies, and hit them where they least expected. In Italy, Napoleon proved his genius. Again and again, he defeated larger Austrian forces. These victories were not just military successes, they made him a hero in France, a young general admired by soldiers and citizens alike. Next came a daring plan, the Egyptian campaign. Napoleon aimed to strike at Britain's wealth by threatening its trade routes to India. The deserts of Egypt became his new battlefield. Although the campaign ended in strategic failure, the British Navy destroyed much of the French fleet. The expedition added to Napoleon's mystique. He was not just a general, he was an adventurer, a visionary, a man who seemed unstoppable. By 1799, France was in political chaos. The government was weak, unstable, and unpopular. Napoleon saw his chance. Returning from Egypt, he seized power in a bold coup d'etat. a sudden takeover of the government. In just a few years, the young general had gone from leading armies in distant lands to leading an entire nation. By 1804, Napoleon had taken full control of France and made himself emperor. He wasn't only ruling the country, he was changing it in big ways. His government created the Napoleonic Code, a new set of laws. These laws made everyone equal under the law, protected people's property, and put the government under non religious, secular control. Even today, many countries' legal systems are still influenced by these ideas. He modernized education, established the Bank of France, reformed taxation, and created merit based promotions in the government and the military, and made sure that the jobs in government and army were given based on talent, not family or social class. Napoleon's army dominated Europe. In 1805, at the Battle of Austerlitz, often called his masterpiece, he crushed the combined forces of Austria and Russia. From Spain to Poland, kingdoms fell or bowed to the French influence. He dissolved the Holy Roman Empire, placed family members on European thrones, and rewrote the political map of the continent. But with power came resistance. Britain remained defiant, and the seeds of rebellion and overstretch were already sprouting. Napoleon wanted to rule almost all of Europe, but in 1812 he made a big mistake. He invaded Russia. He started with an army of over 500,000 soldiers, but things went very wrong. The Russians burned their own land so that Napoleon's army had no food, and the freezing winter killed thousands. Soon Britain, Russia, Prussia, and Austria and other countries joined and fought back. In 1814, they captured Paris. Napoleon had to give up his throne and was sent away to the island of Elba. But the story didn't end there. In 1815, he escaped from Elba, returning to France, gathered his old soldiers, and ruled again for a short time. This period is called the 100 Days. His final defeat came at the Battle of Waterloo, where British and Prussian forces ended his reign for good. This time there was no return. He was sent to the remote island of St. Helena, where he died in 1821, a prisoner of the very powers he once dominated. Napoleon's reign reshaped Europe. His Napoleonic Code still influenced civil law systems across the world. His administrative reforms, modern conscription, centralized governments, and merit-based advancements became models for modern states. His conquests spread revolutionary ideals: nationalism, secularism, legal equality, even in defeat. The borders and power struggle he set in motion shaped Europe for generations, ultimately paving the way for German and Italian unification and even influencing the rise of modern democracy and nationalism globally. And so the story of Napoleon Bonaparte comes to an end. A man whose dreams built empires and whose mistakes brought them down. He changed how nations fought, ruled, and even thought about freedom and power. His name is remembered with both admiration and warning, a reminder that greatness and downfall often walk side by side. Even after 2 centuries, the world still feels his presence, proving that some legacies never fade. Merci de avoir regardé ma video. Thank you for watching my video. धन्यवाद.